Child labor remains a widespread problem in developing countries that is known to bear negative consequences in terms of economic and social development. The International Labour Organization estimates that there are 215 million economically active children, of whom 115 million are engaged in hazardous work. The largest number of child laborers is in the Asia-Pacific region at 113.6 million, followed by Sub-Saharan Africa at 65.1 million, Latin America and the Caribbean at 14.1 million. Sub-Saharan Africa presents the most alarming picture. 1 in 4 children are child laborers in the region, compared to roughly 1 in 8 in Asia-Pacific and 1 in 10 in Latin America and the Caribbean. As many as 1 million Kenyan children aged 5 to 17 are still working and remain deprived of quality education, good health, and other basic needs. 79.5% of these children are found in agriculture, 7% in domestic work, and 14.7% in other sectors.
As a Minister of Labour, you are charged with the responsibility of coordinating all child labor activities in the country, and also ensuring that approving of national action programs on child labor, and also ensuring that child labor is eliminated by the year 2016. The main overall objective of the proposed national child labor policy, which the ministry together with other stakeholders have been developing. Within the policy, we identify different strategies and towards the elimination of child labor. One of them is related to reforms like in education, in the area of education, so that all children are able to access schools, and realize within the new Education Act, it has provided for free and compulsory education up to 18 years. The main objective of the policy is to ensure that children are able to attend school and they are not engaged on the exploitative forms of child labor. As from the studies which have been carried out, it is estimated that most of the children who are in child labor are mostly in agriculture and domestic sector. Children working there are really exploited, working long hours, and also being molested. So it's still a challenge, but as a government, we are trying to come up with the programs which we can able to educate the people, so that they can also know their rights, and also so that they can able to defend themselves. And also at the same time, they should also know where they can able to get protection.
We can be able to have Kenya to be a child labor-free country, because that is actually the motto of the ministry, the motto of the division, that we want to have a child labor-free country. There is a lot we can do. It takes you and me to be able to recognize that we've been given an opportunity to live with a child up to 18 years, then let them work. If you and me played your role and actually took care of those children, allowed them to be children, we will not have child laborers. We will not have child laborers. The biggest problem we have had is that we like using excuses to do mistakes. If we can just put excuses aside and be able just to play our role as adults, because we are the biggest problem of children, play our role as adults, allow children to be children, allow them to be able to go to school, allow them to gain skills, then so that allow them to work when they can do it, then we will not have child labor. We'll have a child labor-free country. We are going to make sure that we make domestic work to be recognized as kind of work, so that we can do away with domestic child labor, because it has always been confused between domestic child work and domestic child labor. It has been one of the most invisible kind of labor or abuses that we've never seen. But now that the government is making it clear, people will know that if I want to engage a house girl or a house help, I actually need to have a contract. I just don't need to go to the village and pick a poor girl or an orphan to bring to my house, And that way, it has really demarcated. Everybody will be so clear on the issues they need to do about child labor. unless the employers or the employees, the parents who employ children, come out and realize it's a mistake, and it is something that you have your own self-conscience and say, I'll not employ a child, we still have many children who will be employed. The other big challenge is what we always blame, poverty. The biggest excuse we have for everything. I call it an excuse. People call it a challenge, but I call it an excuse. That many children are still living under poverty, that the only way they can do is to go and work somewhere to subsidize the family. But I keep on saying the worst poverty we have in this country, the poverty of the mind, is not poverty of the pocket. Because I'm sure if a parent recognized that actually children, God has given me children to be children, then a parent will stay with the child until 18 years, provide what they can so the child can move on. But if parenting becomes a problem, which is our biggest challenge, that you can be able to actually leave your 8-year-old child, 10-year-old child to go and work, and because you want them to come and subsidize, then that's a very big challenge. Parenting is the biggest challenge we have among all that we have. So that people are not taking the responsibility of bringing up the children, be they guardians, be they parents. We are not giving a chance to a child to be a child until the time they can be able to stand on their own. We are actually hurrying them to become adults at the age of 12 years, the age of 10 years, and later they have problem in the adulthood because they didn't enjoy childhood. Some of them end up displaying childish behaviors when they are 40 years because they actually never had a chance to. And when that happens, it becomes cyclic. Because I was employed as a child, when I'm also an adult, I'll also employ a child. Then it becomes a vicious circle of children working through and through. And that's what we are trying to break, so that people can know that even if I worked as a child laborer, I can actually break that cycle and ensure that I don't allow my children, my neighbors' children, to become child workers.
Over the years, we have worked a lot in the agricultural sector and in areas where the worst forms of child labor are, to work with employers and ensure that they contribute to the elimination of the same. We have invested in mobilization of the communities to raise their awareness on what child labor is, because in Africa, child work is normal and most parents or guardians do not think that there's any harm. So we needed to identify for them what constitutes child labor and what is harmful to the welfare of the child without removing the aspect of work by children. We have been able to sensitize the communities around, especially where we have members who have a large population of people, to ensure that children do go to school. Recently, we've introduced what we call Adopt a School program, which is aimed at mobilizing employers and the corporate world to see their efforts in child labor as their corporate social responsibility. And I'm very happy to say that many corporates are willing to work with us in this. Already we have 4 corporates in 4 regions in this country who have started programs either aimed at providing school feeding programs, upgrading the quality of classrooms, starting income generating projects for the schools within their communities so that parents can have money to buy uniforms, to pay fees and to feed their children. So employers see the contribution in the work of child labor and eliminating it as our contribution to preparing future generations for the world of work and ensuring that our children are able to go to school whilst also developing holistically.
I can tell you we did take a key center stage by making sure that we address issues related to child labor, including the support of the Convention on Child Labor and our own local instruments. And let me tell you why. The Kenya Plantation and Agricultural Workers Union that I lead, my primary trade union organization and affiliate of KOTU, it was the mother of all child labor abuse, because this is where we have coffee, and this is an area that we have sisal, mixed farming, pineapple farming, and so on. This is where they used to use children. The International Labour Organization did immense job in the agricultural sector of our economy to make sure that we reduce the abuse on our children and our children go to school by eradicating child labor in the agricultural sector through KOTU and the Kenya Plantation and Agricultural Workers Union. This has helped other unions affiliated to KOTU like Kenya Union of Commercial Food and Allied Workers Union, Domestic Workers Union, and to make sure that through KOTU, that sensitization removed young workers from hotels, from those other areas like shops and where they were being misused and back to school. And we had a very, very good program that we have statistics. We have given even the ILO, we have provided ILO with the statistics on the number of the children that returned to school and the number of the children that are now in school who are being misused as child labor. And that's a remarkable thing that we have done in this country.
We work in particular selected areas to ensure that in those particular areas all forms of child labor are tackled, that the underlying factors that contribute to child labor are dealt with, and that partnerships are built so that it's not just the project working in this area, but other partners, both from NGO sector, the government, and parents and volunteers are all working in this area. So far, we have managed to deal with the children who have been found with either in child labor or at risk, and the project has targeted over 8,000 children in these areas. Some of those children have been targeted for prevention, others for withdrawal, and others for protection, those who are 16 to 17 years. We have also worked with children in the creation of child light clubs, where we are implementing child participation programs through the use of SCREAM, a tool developed by ILO on child participation. We have also worked very closely with parents who have been identified as being unable to support their children fully to be in school. We have provided education materials, school fees, in some cases school levies, examination fee. We have also provided uniforms. We have provided sanitary towels in case of girls. And on a needs basis, we have been able to provide the items identified for each child.